Here we go. Fabrizio Romano confirms crucial Real Madrid signing. If one thing was evident to Real Madrid fans in the dying days of Carlo Ancelotti's tenure, it's that the defense was in major need of reinforcements if the club hopes to re-establish themselves as the best team in Europe. Due to a combination of major injuries as well as overall drops in form from almost every defender, the team conceded goals for fun during the 2024-25 season, which has led new head coach Xabi Alonso to make his main priority fixing his backline. The club has already brought in centre-back Dean Howison and right-back Trent Alexander-Arnold, who have both already proven to be key players in Alonso's system after having played only 5 games for the club. While the two have helped to somewhat solidify the defense, there is still work that needs to be done, and it seems the club is already working on completing the next signing for Xabi Alonso. As being reported by Fabrizio Romano, Real Madrid are finally set to agree on a deal to sign fullback Alvaro Carreras from Benfica. Talks between the clubs have been going on for the better part of a month now, and the two finally seem to have gotten over the hurdles slowing up the transfer. Alvaro Carreras will be huge for Real Madrid. The main stickling point of the deal was Benfica's firm stance demanding his full €50 million release clause, and Real's refusal to meet that figure. However, it now seems that the two sides have finally agreed on a deal, with Real Madrid set to send a transfer fee as well as Castilla left-back Rafa El Obrador to Benfica in exchange for Alvaro Carreras. They have agreed to send the €50 million release clause in installments rather than in one full payment. Having left the Real Madrid Youth Academy in 2020 for Manchester United, in his senior career he has spent time at Man United as well as Preston North End and Granada on loan before joining Benfica in 2024. After a stellar season in Portugal, Real Madrid have had their eyes on Carreras, and are more than happy to welcome him back to the Spanish capital. Real Madrid plan giant. Official offer for world-class Tottenham star after PSG demolition. Report: Real Madrid are planning to make a bid for Tottenham Hotspur central defender Cristian Romero in the coming weeks after the dire performance against Paris Saint-Germain, according to a report, as Atletico Madrid's stance on the defender is revealed. After a disappointing 2024-25 campaign in which Madrid could not win La Liga or the Champions League, Los Blancos have been very active in the summer transfer window, as they embark on a new era under new manager Xabi Alonso. While centre-back Dean Howison has joined Madrid from Bournemouth, right-back Trent Alexander-Arnold has made the switch from Liverpool. Franco Mastantuono is also on his way to the Santiago Bernabeu, with a deal having been agreed with River Plate for the Argentine midfielder to team up with Alonso's squad in August when he turns 18. While things had been looking rosy for a while under Alonso at the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup, Madrid's 4-0 hammering at the hands of European champions Paris Saint-Germain in the semi-finals has forced the manager and president Florentino Perez to look at signing a new central defender in the summer transfer window. Team Talks transfer correspondent, Fraser Fletcher, reported back on March 28 that Madrid have Romero on their list of targets for the summer. Fitchages has now claimed that Madrid are planning to make a formal bid for the centre-back, who was Desiree Ibda's world-class, and a top-class player with the ball and without the ball when defending, by his Tottenham teammate Mickey van der Ven on Optus Sport in March 2024. Madrid are not happy with Raúl Asensio and Antonio Rudiger, and believe that Romero meets the requirements that they are looking for to lead their new defensive line. Los Blancos are planning formal talks for the Argentina international centre-back and are willing to pay €80 million, £69 million, $93.4 million, for the 27-year-old, who won the World Cup in 2022 and the Copa America in 2021 and 2024. The report in the Spanish news outlet has added that Tottenham, who will play in the Champions League next season after winning the Europa League in the 2024-25 campaign, haven't ruled out receiving an official offer in the coming weeks. Romero has been superb for Tottenham over the years and is under contract at the North London club until the summer of 2027. Atletico Madrid have given up on Cristian Romero. Real Madrid are not the only club from Madrid that are keen on Romero, with city rivals Atletico having long been credited with interest in the defender. However, Madrid will be encouraged to know that Atletico have given up on the prospect of bringing Romero to the Metropolitano Stadium. According to us, Atletico made a formal approach for Romero, but Tottenham flatly turned it down. While Atletico have been willing to pay €55 million, £47.5 meters, $64 million for the defender, Spurs made it clear that they will not enter into negotiations for the Argentine star. Atletico have already moved on, identifying Feyenoord's David Hanko, Bayer Leverkusen's Piero Hincapié, Murillo of Nottingham Forest and D. Bologna ace John Lucami as potential targets. This will encourage Madrid, but Tottenham's stance of not selling Romero will be a cause for concern. However, Los Blancos' planned bid for Romero is way more than Atletico, so that could help to sway Tottenham's mind. A second source has claimed that Liverpool plan to make a bid for a Madrid superstar if they lose one of their best attacking players in the summer transfer window. Ibrahima Konate has responded to a bid from Atletico Madrid, who are hoping to beat Real Madrid to the signing of the Liverpool centre. El defender, who has been Real Madrid's best signing from the Premier League in the past 10 years. 5 midfielders Xabi Alonso must target to fix Real Madrid mess. Stiller, Fernandez. Real Madrid will always strive to boast the best team in world football. But the scale of the task on Xabi Alonso's hands was laid bare in their Club World Cup semi-final defeat to PSG. The shocking 4-0 scoreline was representative of the gulf between the two teams. There were some encouraging signs earlier in the tournament for the new manager, but the mauling they suffered at the hands of the European champions was a reminder of the work they need to do, including in the transfer market. We've identified 5 players that Real Madrid ought to target this summer to give Alonso the best chance of making his project a success. Angelo Stiller. Florentino Perez was proactive and ambitious in building a future beyond their era-defining midfield trio of Casemiro, Toni Kroos and Luka Modric. Jude Bellingham, Federico Valverde, Aurelien Tchouameni and Eduardo Camavinga are all exceptionally talented footballers. The problem is that none of them are the kind of tempo-setting string puller that Kroos and Modric were at their best. Madrid didn't replace Kroos last year. They're yet to replace Modric this summer. As with the England national team so often over the years, Los Blancos are desperately lacking the kind of deep-lying playmaker that will give them total control. That area of the pitch was particularly exposed as they failed to get near PSG's world-class midfield trio in the baking New Jersey Sunch. Inner, Stuttgart number 6 Stiller isn't the most glamorous name on the market, but he fits the profile and would theoretically be attainable for an affordable fee. According to Marca, Kroos himself has personally given the seal of approval that the Germany international has what it takes to be his success. Or at the Bernabeu. Unfortunately, the latest noises out of Madrid via goal suggest that they've withdrawn their interest in the midfielder. That could prove costly. One name mentioned as a potential Modric replacement in the Spanish papers is Bayer Leverkusen midfielder Palacios. The 26-year-old Argentina international wasn't always a mainstay under Alonso. He made more appearances off the bench than in the starting 11 in the Bundesliga last term, but he fits the billing of the kind of player Madrid ought to be targeting. Perhaps most crucially, he wouldn't cost the earth. A modest fee of just €20 million has been mooted. There were some encouraging signs earlier in the tournament for the new manager, but the mauling they suffered at the hands of the European champions was a reminder of the work they need to do, including in the transfer market. We've identified 5 players that Real Madrid ought to target this summer to give Alonso the best chance of making his project a success. Florentino Perez was proactive and ambitious in building a future beyond their era-defining midfield trio of Casemiro, Toni Kroos and Luka Modric. Jude Bellingham, Federico Valverde, Aurelien Tchouameni and Eduardo Camavinga are all exceptionally talented footballers. The problem is that none of them are the kind of tempo-setting string puller that Kroos and Modric were at their best. Madrid didn't replace Kroos last year. They're yet to replace Modric this summer. As with the England national team so often over the years, Los Blancos are desperately lacking the kind of deep-lying playmaker that will give them total control. But he hasn't always been convincing at Stamford Bridge, and he'd arguably been better suited to La Liga than the Premier League. The Argentinian continues to be linked with a move to the Bernabeu. When you look back at his Benfica stats, there's potentially a passing grandmaster waiting to be unlocked. In the right setup. How he fares against PSG in the upcoming Club World Cup final will be a solid litmus test of what he'd offer Madrid's midfield. Real Madrid will now resume their transfer business, now that their involvement in the 2025 Club World Cup has come to an end. There is a desire to get a deal for Alvaro Carreras over the line in the coming weeks, but there will also be players leaving the club. Castilla defender Rafael Obrador has agreed terms ahead of a move to Benfica, and his teammates Victor Munoz is also set to depart in the very near future. As reported by Fabrizio Romano, Real Madrid have agreed a deal with Osasuna for the young winger to join Los Rojillos. As part of the deal, Real Madrid will receive a €6 million transfer fee, while they will also be entitled to 50% of the money received by Osasuna if they were to sell Munoz in the future. Munoz had been close to joining Getafe in recent weeks. The move to Osasuna is a rather surprising one for Munoz, who was with Real Madrid at the Club World Cup in the United States. Getafe president Angel Torres recently revealed that they had a priority agreement for the 21-year-old, but that will come to nothing now that he is heading to Pamplona. Munoz broke into the Real Madrid first team towards the end of the domestic campaign, which included an appearance in the 3-2 defeat to Barcelona in the final El Clasico meeting in La Liga. But it has now been determined that he will not be in Xabi Alonso's plans for his first full campaign in charge, which is why Osasuna have swooped to sign him. The sales of Obrador and Munoz will add €11 million to Real Madrid's transfer fund for the rest of the summer, coupled with any money added from the club's exploits at the Club World Cup. It remains to be seen whether any further signings are targeted once Carreras arrives, which is expected to happen soon. Real Madrid may pull off surprise transfer that wasn't meant for this summer. Ibrahima Konate has been a long-term target for Real Madrid, just like Trent Alexander-Arnold. The two from Liverpool have been pursued by Real Madrid for a long time, and while the Englishman is signed on a free, Madrid paid a nominal fee to get him a few months early. The Frenchman is soon to follow. As his contract at Merseyside runs till 2026, Madrid had planned to approach the signing in the next summer transfer window when Konate would become a free agent. Konate knows of this interest and has consequently refused multiple contract renewal offers from Liverpool, which has agitated the fans and the management of the club on multiple levels. They fear a situation similar to Trent's, which is exactly what Madrid have planned. And Liverpool do not want that to happen again. So, Liverpool are clear with Konate: sign a contract extension or leave this summer for a fee. And this has turned a lot of things in favor of Real Madrid. Real Madrid may sign Konate a year sooner than they had planned. According to a story from Diario's, the roadmap for Real Madrid to sign Konate was set for 2026 when David Alaba would be released at the end of his contract, which also ends down that year. But Liverpool's ultimatum to Konate has changed things significantly. The story says that Liverpool have set a price tag of 50 million for the player, which Real Madrid are paying no heed to. It must be noted that Liverpool are desperate to get some fee for Konate, and time is running out. They are not in an advantageous position here. As time passes, the asking price will decline rapidly. And that is when Madrid can act. If a bid for Alaba arrives, which is very unlikely, seeing the player's form, or a significant sale is made, something like Rodrigo's, which injects sufficient money into Madrid's purse, Los Blancos will strongly consider signing Konate this summer instead of the next. The story predicts that by that time, the asking price can come down to 20 to 25 million. No more than that.